watch this?
How?
Ew,
How do you watch this?
Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hello, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week we give each other a movie to watch in the genre we love, but they don't. My name is Debbie and I love horror.
My name is Megan and I love romance.
This is our horror week.
Yep. And I am sorry, but this is the first time you've had a pop filter on your mic and it's literally just your eyeballs. It's like in that TV, what was that TV show, Home Improvement, where the neighbor, you only ever saw his eyeballs. That's what I feel like.
What was the sound he used to make? Yeah. Yeah.
So I was thinking that we keep the common thread a secret because then it's not like, oh, people can only ever guess the romance or they can only ever guess whatever. This way, the thread is what they get to guess.
Okay.
Maybe that's more fun.
Okay. We'll try that.
I mean, it's not like we're posting it on social like we should be anyway, so
Yeah, very fair.
what does it matter? Demi picked the movie The Invisible Man 2020 edition.
2020, because there's a million editions.
Yeah.
So most popular, maybe 1933 version.
Oh, old.
It's old.
I'd be curious to watch that. It probably wouldn't scare me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I have some info on it, so I
Cannot wait to hear.
can start off with some background on The Invisible Man.
Okay, great.
So, The Invisible Man, it's originally a science fiction novel by H.G. Wells. The book was written in 1897. So it's freaking old.
1897. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Forgot that man was that old. Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much the book is originally about scientists who research into optics and invents a way to change a body's refractive index. So pretty much to turn himself invisible. And he carries out the procedure on himself, of course, and he turns invisible but fails in his attempt to reverse it. So my dude is stuck and he ends up just going crazy from it.
Could you imagine being invisible?
No. And so he has this really iconic look where he's wrapped up in bandages. And he's got the hat,
I
so-
know exactly that. I know what that's.
Yeah.
I know what that is. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, so he's pretty iconic and, he's like a classic monster horror icon.
Okay.
So that is the original Invisible Man. And then something I wanted to point out was the effect they used. So in the movie, when he presents himself, he's unwrapping himself and he's just invisible. And of course, in 1933, it's like, how did they do that? And so this is kind of like a green screen effect of that time. I'll read what it said online, and it's like hard for me to figure it out, but they shot that with a completely black set with the walls and floors made to be non-reflective, and then by covering Claude, the actor, from head to foot with black velvet tights.
Oh my!
And then they took a
God.
negative of the film's effects and composited them with shots of the normal background. So they pretty much removed him from the scene. So it looks like when he's removing his stuff, it looks like he's actually removing like on a body. So it's pretty cool the way
That is so interesting.
it's a very cool scene.
Velvet suit. He must have been.
I know. Anything to get the shot.
Yeah.
So that is the origin of The Invisible Man. And this movie is obviously a modern take on it. And the director definitely wanted to figure out a way to create The Invisible Man in modern times and instead have the focus be on the victim of the Invisible Man rather than on the Invisible Man himself. So
Wow.
something a little different.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, the movie is a thriller horror, I believe. I don't know. I didn't post something that I looked up online. I was like, this is what I've decided it
I guess it
is.
could be a little sci-fi, but
Yeah, a little bit. It's directed by Lee Wannell, I think is the pronunciation. Could be wrong. Who knows? My snapshot of the film. After Cecilia escapes from her abusive ex, she starts to feel like she's being harassed by him. Except he's invisible now. And dead. No one believes her, of course. But what if she's right?
what if?
Okay. All right. So, first and foremost, I started watching it last night because I was putting it off. Instead of watching it over the weekend, I watched a romance movie because I was like,
Good vibes.
better. They're better. So
This has some romance.
what?
Toxic romance.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. One person does feel love, I suppose. So this movie, I watched it last night, and part of the way through, Travis came in and started watching it with me, and he apparently was unaffected. But we'll talk more about that later.
Okay. He's a man.
Yeah. Fair. You know what? That's such a good point.
Quick answer.
Yep. Okay, so the opening credits were really cool because they did this thing where they basically had it like a beachfront and the waves crashing over invisible letters and showing up with the foam dripping off the letters.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like a nice homage to the concept of the film. The movie opens on a scene with Elisabeth Moss, aka Cecilia, carefully sneaking around a house in an effort to escape her boyfriend. You might be familiar with Elisabeth Moss if you watched The Handmaid's Tale or any number of culturally significant shows and movies.
Very popular, very great actress, even though she's part of Scientology.
Oh, interesting that this is H.G. Wells. Huh?
Yeah, so
she had a real deep connection.
She felt it. When I found that out, I was like, girl, you did Handmaid's Tale.
Dude.
Like, are you tripping?
That's so wild.
So.
I feel like I definitely knew that and just forgot about it.
Yeah.
But now
I can put it in the back of your mind.
Right. Now I forgive Travis for saying she's weird. And I was like, you're rude and sexist and blah, blah, blah. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'll allow it now.
You know what? She is a little weird, but she's a great actress. So unfortunately, whatever.
So we're able to deduce that she used the drug diazepam, which is an anti-anxiety medication, to knock the boyfriend out. His name is Adrian, as you come to learn. She does her best to cover her tracks as she's leaving. She rinses out the cup, tucks away the meds, and she has this like secret little hidey hole in the closet where she has a stored go bag, and that comes into play later. She walks through the house and we see a room fit for a spy. And it's when we saw this room when I decided he obviously fakes his death to then stalk her as an invisible person. And I was like, I've deduced the whole film.
I don't even need to finish.
I don't have to. And honestly, wish I didn't. Okay. I sent Demi a text last night. F you for this. On her way out of the house, this poor little pup, Zeus, comes up to her and he's like wondering where she's going. And she's upset because she, for whatever reason, can't take him with her. So instead of taking him with her, she just takes off his electric collar and is like, be free.
So it's probably because she couldn't take him over the wall. She had to climb over the
wall. Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, here I was villainizing her. I was like, how dare you?
I was very upset about that, but...
This is why we have small dogs.
Yeah, just fucking
so that I can
Diego would be heavy. I don't know if I had the arm strength to do it.
You would shove them in your shirt and then keep your knees. No, we
Diego's huge.
No,
he's small, but he's big. He's just
hefty.
Yeah, he's hefty.
Yeah. So she takes off that e-collar, sets him free, and in the process, a car alarm goes off, and Adrian, the boyfriend, wakes up. She runs through the woods and gets to her sister's car. Her sister's name is Emily. And in her rush, she loses that bottle of medication, and Adrian ends up catching up and punching the window in, but they get away.
Yeah. Well, what annoyed me was the sister being like, what's wrong? And I'm like, dude, drive. Why? Your sister's calling you in the middle of the night. Like, don't ask questions.
No,
Dad.
you don't.
Fucking
I don't understand it. If someone gets into someone I love, and no, obviously not a stranger, someone I love. Someone I love and know gets into my car and is like, go, go, go. I am slamming on the gas.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I know they have a weird relationship.
Yeah.
They don't really go into it, but you can tell it's like not great. But still.
2 weeks go by and Cecilia is staying with her brother-in-law and niece. And it took me a little while to figure out the like relationship dynamics, but I guess she used to have another sister who died.
Yes, I think it was very
subtle the way they hinted at it.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh, is Emily and this guy like divorced? Right. But then there's like other hinting later. So you get the idea that basically her other sister is gone.
Yeah.
And she's staying with the brother-in-law and niece because Adrian doesn't know where they live.
Right. Yeah. And he is fine.
Oh,
brother-in-law?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
I know, it's too bad a side character smasher passes him.
I know.
Because his muscles at one time were popping out of that shirt, and I was like, hello.
He is a good father.
Yes, he is a good father.
Kind, funny.
Yes.
A working man. He's a cop, but
the above. Yeah, well,
he's a working man.
Yeah.
He can look past it.
He'll protect us, I guess. He can serve and protect me.
That's, yeah. Fair. Yeah.
So she's starting to feel really paranoid, and she paints over her webcam because she is nervous that he's able to hack in and take a peek. So, not only is he technologically proficient, but she thinks he is obsessed enough with her that he would go to this extent. This is when we find out that Adrian has taken his life according to the news. Clearly, he's a hotshot of some kind if they're writing about him. And the articles, you catch like glimpses of words. He's in optics. He's some like CEO or whatever. He's
kind of like an Elon. I feel like an Elon type of person, you know, like one of those high up techie kind of dudes.
Yeah. The knowledge of his death makes Cecilia feel safer, despite the fact that she doesn't understand how someone like him, who always needs to be in control of every situation, would do that. She also learns that he left her $5 million, which will be delivered in increments over the course of 4 years. The stipulation being she doesn't get into any legal trouble in that time, which is like easy. You've gone this many years without legal trouble.
Right.
How's that going?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, would I lock myself in my house just in case? But whatever. I don't know why I said that. I have never had legal trouble. I don't know why I would lock myself in my house. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, for that much money, I'd be extra cautious, I guess.
Definitely. I'd be afraid. My fear would be of being framed, is what I mean.
Framed, yeah. Caught jaywalking.
Right, exactly. And then all of a sudden I don't get my millions.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Okay, so Adrian's brother, Tom, is the executor of the estate, and he decides to waive his rights to contest the money, and he's like, I'm just going to let you have this.
Very nice of him.
Very nice of him, and suspicious. Who wouldn't contest $5 million unless he also got $5 million? Who knows? But we don't know that. So we see a lot of camera panning throughout the movie, and it's almost as if the camera is hinting at the possibility of another subject in the frame. One of the first times that subject is first represented is when Cecilia is cooking, and we see a knife sliding from the counter, and the gas in the stove gets turned up and the food gets burnt. Later, the blankets are pulled off of her and her niece in the middle of the night as they sleep, and then flashes go off. It's like the pictures are being taken.
Yeah.
And so she is taking notice of these things and is trying to articulate her fear to people, and they're all like, you're you know.
And the whole blanket thing, there's one point she's pulling it, it's not pulling, and you can almost see footprints on it. And at that point, I would have been like, this house is haunted, because what else would you think? Like,
exactly.
But it was just so eerie, that scene. I'm like,
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I want to say I would have kicked out and like punched and hit at whatever thing was there, except I also know who I am as a person. And that is someone who will drop to the floor.
Yeah, it would have been I would have thought it was like a demon or ghost. Yeah. It would have fucking freaked me out. Yeah. I don't think I would have punched at it unless it ran and maybe I reflexed out. But
exactly. So everyone thinks that she's imagining things because obviously she has some severe PTSD after her relationship with this man. And she is scared of everything and is very paranoid, which makes sense. I, too, would feel that way. And she should for sure get some therapy.
Yeah, because this dude pretty much controlled everything about her. So the way she dressed, when she left, what she ate, everything was controlling about her. So that's her fear of seeing him again. Like, that's why she's so afraid of him, because he's a horrible piece of shit.
Yep, exactly.
Even so that she was sneaking birth control.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just, to not get pregnant, obviously, by a monster. But she had to sneak it because he did not want to approve birth control for her.
So there's a fainting incident that leads to her getting her blood tested, and it shows that she has an overdose of diazepam in her system, which is weird because she lost that bottle when she got into the car with Emily. And as she's on the call with the doctor, she basically drops the phone down and stops listening to the conversation because she sees the bottle of medicine on her sink with Adrian's blood prints on it, which I feel like at that point I would be like, what?
I would need to go to an asylum. Just put me in there, put me in a padded room.
Yes.
Figure that shit out. I'm done.
I'm not interested in existing in this whole realm.
Either my brain is broken completely, or
I'm being severely haunted, or someone's messing with me. And in all three of those situations, I could use some intense some intense mental health help.
Yes.
So she goes and talks to the brother Tom, and she's like, yo, this is weird. He's definitely still alive, and he's definitely haunting me and following me around and doing all this stuff. And he's like, he is a master manipulator, and he has done the most successful manipulation of his life by haunting you from beyond. He is definitely dead. He shows her a picture of his dead body, those big blood stains around it. And he's like, I think that this is just him manipulating you.
Yeah.
In his death. And this is when I was like, I think maybe the brother's in on it.
And the brother at that point too, from his face, you can kind of tell that Adrian has this control over him as well. So he's trying to make it seem like I'm also haunted by him. Like he's been this force in my life that's he's controlled me as well. So, but yeah, it's a little.
It's kind of strange, and it's weird because, like, at the beginning, the brother was basically kind of acting like anti her and saying, like, you know, people just wanted him for his money, blah blah blah. But now he's saying, oh no, I know he was a manipulator, and he manipulated me. Worst of all, I had to live with him for so many years. And you're like, you knew how bad he was. Why would you have made those weird comments? Also, why'd you wait the right? He's acting suspicious. So she's continuing to be tormented. Emily is sent a hurtful email. Sydney gets hit, and that kind of is like this catalyst where Sydney thinks that Cecilia is the one who hit her. Sydney is the niece, by the way, if that wasn't stated. And she's only like 17 or 18 years old. Yeah. She's a senior in high school. So everything is pointing towards Cecilia doing all these things. Yeah. And she's feeling like she's being framed. And I was like, that would just feel so suffocating if you were in this situation where you feel like you're being followed, you feel like you're being forced to take blame for something you didn't do, and no one is going to believe you.
Right, because the brother-in-law is like, I need to take her somewhere safe. She's my priority, which, yeah, good. But also, I don't know if I would have left completely. Right. Just because of Cecilia's mental state, I would have been like, okay, there's something going on here. Yes. Like, I can't leave her alone. Let me handle my daughter real quick.
Well, especially based on everything I know. Like, Cecilia had been like, oh, I'm going to pay for her to go to college. She's so giving and nice, and then for her to have this like strange 180.
Right.
If one of my sisters brutally kicked my dog, I would be like, that's out of character. Yeah. I'm gonna put my dog in another space. I'm gonna call someone
separate.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my dog taken care of. Number one, obviously, I might have to scream at my sister.
I'll be upset.
But very upset. I don't want you near my dog anytime soon. But also, this is not like you at all. Yeah. Then we're going to figure out what's going on with you.
Right.
So she's alone in the house at this point in time. And we're about to get to my most memorable scene. So Cecilia decides she's going to call Adrian's phone, which was really smart. And she hears it buzzing, and it's in the ceiling. And I'm envisioning that he is on the ceiling like Spider-Man.
Can you imagine? What a missed opportunity. Missed opportunity. Oh my god. You just see the phone like light up. Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah. So she goes up into the attic, and I was like, oh, the attic. Duh.
Which is my fear of someone living in an attic space. Yes. I would have left. I don't know why Cecilia was like, you know what? I'm going to go find a phone. I would have been like, he's somehow here. He's somehow done it. Yeah, I'm leaving.
It's the same thing in every freaking horror movie where the main character makes a stupid decision.
Like, it was such, I would have just called the police and been like, hey, I called us. It's in the attic. I don't know if he's up there, but like, go look at it. I'm not doing it.
And further to that point, this is the point in time where, fine, you're not going to call the police. Take your phone out and start recording.
Yeah.
I was like, everything that she continues to discover along this point in time, I'm like, girl, if you were recording this, none of the rest of the film would have happened.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes up into the attic. She finds that missing knife I mentioned earlier. There's other incriminating evidence from other instances that I didn't mention. And again, I mentioned that I would be recording because also he could be murdering her at any moment. You think he's in here? You're in the attic. You're about to get yourself locked up there. It's like The Boy when she's like ends up getting stuck in the attic. I thought that was going to happen. A text message comes from an anonymous number onto Adrian's phone that she picks up and it says surprise. And that comes into play later. You hear the word surprise a couple times throughout the film. So she goes back towards the entrance of the attic and she looks down and I guess she can like sense that he's there. And she pours a bucket of paint down and it lights up his, like, you can finally for the first time you see the figure.
A silhouette, yeah.
Silhouette. Literally genuinely scared me.
It's such a cool but scary moment because it is the first time you like actually see him.
Like, you're like, it's real. I see him. Get him. Get him. And so that actually scared me. So that's my most memorable scene. And somehow he is able to wash this paint off of himself very quickly and very thoroughly, which I think would be. We later see the suit has all these nooks and crannies. I don't know how you would have gotten all that paint off there, but
I have a theory about it, so we can discuss it because it'll be a spoiler.
Okay, great. So she comes downstairs. She sees that the sink is running and there's all this white paint in the sink. He cleaned himself up. They have an invisible fight scene,
Yeah.
which must have been so intense to film.
So it's pretty cool. They use a mix of wires to pull her around, but they also had a guy full green screen.
I was wondering if they were going to do that.
Yeah, it was actually wrestling and fighting, so she's actually hitting a real guy in a green screen. It's pretty cool. If you look up like the behind the scenes, yeah, it's just some green screen dude fucking around.
That's so
But
amazing.
It's a pretty cool scene because I was wondering, I'm like, is she just fighting air? Like, it's pretty impressive if she is.
If she was, I was like, she deserves to get whatever it is that.
Where's her award?
Yeah, exactly. What is it, Oscars? She should get one.
Yes.
Long story short, she ends up getting away, jumps into an Uber, and decides to drive to his house to investigate.
She's another fucking crazy thought.
Well, I don't know why she would do that.
No.
Why would you go into the den of the lion's den? You know what I mean? So she types in the code to get in, which is 4883. And assuming this is a birthday, and that birthday is Adrian's, that makes him an Aries.
I think it's an ode to the old movie or something.
Okay.
It's an Easter egg. But that's funny that, I mean, he can definitely be an Aries.
Well, I mean,
or Gemini.
Here are some fun characteristics of Aries that I was like, this is so on point. Charming, bad-tempered, aggressive, loyal, and determined. And I was like, obviously someone interested in the Zodiac worked on this film.
Honestly, I take that theory for sure.
So she gets to the house and Zeus the dog is there too. So clearly he wasn't able to get away like she hoped.
Right.
And also someone must be feeding him because he is
alive
and it's been 2 weeks.
Yep. He looks good.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's doing well. I don't think the collar's on him anymore, but he's doing okay. So she goes into his spy room and types in the day they met as the code to get in. She goes like, how romantic, you know, as a joke.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's the worst. She pushes this button and a previously invisible suit shows up and she takes it and stashes it in that hidey hole from earlier in the movie. Yeah. I personally would have put the suit on and run away.
Yep. And also the suit is made up of like
tons and tons of little cameras.
And it's like pretty cool the way they did it. And a director said he did look into optics and wanted this grounded somewhat in realism. So he tried to figure out a way like, how can someone actually make an invisibility suit? Yeah. So that's what they came up with all the cameras that
would like refract
pretty much
the area around you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. So there's someone else in the house in a different invisible suit. We know this because like a door suddenly opens, whatever. She ends up escaping. I'm not even going to go into the fight. She meets with her sister who gets her throat slit by the invisible man.
Yeah. That's
the scene I said should be deleted.
It was shocking.
I hated that. That was what made me send you that text message because I was so upset.
Because it was them talking and then the knife you see is like floating.
Right.
And the sister's looking at it and then it just immediately slashes.
And the knife goes into her hand.
Yeah, Cecilia's hand.
And then everyone, of course, thinks she slit her sister's throat.
Right. That's why, what else would you think?
Right.
But yeah, it was such a great, I was like, damn, that, to kill our sister?
Dude.
Like, this dude's out of his mind. But of course he's, you know, trying to distance her from people, framing, like, he's just ruining everything, so she has no choice other than to eventually come back to him.
Correct. He's the worst.
He's the worst.
Also, imagine being with someone who murdered your sister. I, like, as if. I feel like he should have had her framed her for some random person's murder, so I wouldn't have been emotionally invested into that relationship, especially considering her other sister's dead, and now it's just her.
Right. And before this, it seemed like they didn't have a great relationship, but she was also very upset with her, and you find out she was sent an email from Cecilia, supposedly, and the email was very awful, and it was pretty much like, I hate you, and
I wish you were the one who died.
Yes. Really awful email, and obviously it's Adrian sent it through Cecilia's email address and computer, but the sister thinks that Cecilia sent it and believed it. So that's another way to think, okay, they don't have a good relationship, because if you immediately believe your sister would send that, like,
if my sister sent me that, I'd be like, what? Excuse me?
911.
Hello. Someone stole my sister's account information, and or this is a really mean prank.
Yeah, so I don't know if Adrian had her be very
Well, yes, in abusive relationships, oftentimes they distance you from the people in your life. So it makes sense if it had caused a strained relationship.
Yeah.
After the slitting of the throat, the word surprise is muttered by a male voice. Cecilia's framed. She gets, arrested and incarcerated. While incarcerated, she learns that she is pregnant because of those pretend birth control those birth control pills she was taking. He was smart enough to realize and then replace them with placebos or something else, which she learns from Tom, the brother who meets with her. And he's basically like, I'll make everything disappear if you agree to start over with Adrian and raise the child together. So basically the brother at this point is like, yes, he's alive. Yes, he's done all this stuff. Yep. He wants to be with you. He was never going to let you go because you're the only person who's ever left him. Now that there's a child in the picture and that's all he ever wanted, he wants to make this work with you. And so basically she doesn't have to go to jail. She can get all the money even though, that clause about committing crimes was breached.
We'll overlook that.
Right.
It's fine.
Exactly. Everything's going to be okay. You just need to call him and fix this.
And just to point out that it seemed like she was pregnant before all this happened. It wasn't a thing where he assaulted her.
Right.
Invisible, which seems to be kind of a theme.
Yes. I had originally been like, he syringed something into her.
How did this happen?
So during the meeting with the brother, she steals a fancy pen, and later in private, she tries to kill herself with the pen, but the invisible man stops her. She stabs him, and it breaks the stew just enough that it will flicker in and out every once in a while. This begins a killing spree by the invisible man, where many, many security guards are taken down. They end up in a car chase where Cecilia calls her brother-in-law James and says, "Go protect your daughter, Sydney. I think she's in danger." Yeah. So Sydney is in fact getting attacked by the invisible man, and James gets there just in time, pulls up with his cruiser that has a license plate 99999999951, and I was like, it just immediately took me out of the moment because I was like, that's hilarious. So James ends up getting beaten up by the invisible man, but Cecilia shows up and shoots the invisible man until he dies.
Because before she did that, she sprayed a fire extinguisher on him so to see where he was.
That was a good point.
Which also can't really happen, so they had to CGI that. So if you ever sprayed someone, it's not going to stick to them.
What?
Yeah, apparently. I read it in IMDb.
Well, then why would they do that? If they wanted to base it in realism, and then they're like, you know what, let's use something that's not realistic.
It says, turns out fire extinguisher foam doesn't actually cling to people like it does in movies, meaning they had to use some visual effects.
Oh my god. Yeah. Fascinating.
So I guess they had the idea, and then when they tested it out, they were like, oh, oopsies. Well, it's too late to back out now.
We're not going to rethink this situation.
No. She just goes show them what another people.
Yeah, that's right. So she removes the mask on the invisible man, but it's not Adrian. It's her brother-in-law, Tom. Not brother-in-law. It's Adrian's brother, yes. Tom. And so then we see that a SWAT team goes into Adrian's house. They go into the basement, and Adrian's screaming out for help. He has been trapped and kidnapped. He's placed in the basement and claims basically that the brother was this mastermind behind everything that happened.
Yeah.
And Cecilia's like, there's absolutely no way. He is definitely behind all this, and he just framed his brother. She's like, I can assure you that up until this point, the invisible man was him, and then the brother took over and took on that suit and did the rest of it.
But no one believes her, of course.
Of course. So she's like laying in bed one night, looks over, sees the strangle marks on Sydney's neck, and is like, I'm never going to be safe with him still operating. So she does call Adrian. She schedules a time to meet with him, and they get together, and he has this whole array of food for her, including sushi, which pregnant women cannot eat. So he did not do research. I was like, oh, come on, men. What are you doing? I mean, he's also abusive, so it's not like we're like he really cares about her or anything. So we realize that James is listening into the whole conversation. She's trying to get him to admit that he did what what happened, and he is not admitting anything. He comes up to her, he says, I know you better than anyone. Like tries to be all endearing to her, and she's crying, she's shaking, she's like, I need to go clean myself up. And while she's cleaning herself up, Adrian looks really surprised, and his hand gets lifted and slits his own throat. You pretty much know that she put on that suit from the hidey hole and went out, slit his throat, went back in, put it all in a little bag, came out, called the police, was acting like all upset, distraught, crying, went out of the camera frame that's in the house, and she stops crying. She looks calm. She has like a bag with the extra suit. She leaves the house with Zeus, the dog. James comes running up because he heard something going down, and he realizes that she had to have been the one who did it.
Right.
And she said, what did it sound like to you in there? And he was like, it sounded like he killed himself. And then she walks away, and it ends on like her staring into the camera.
Yep. Bad girl moment.
Yes. So I wish that in the end, because I feel like what they were trying to do was kind of make you question whether or not Adrian was actually the culprit.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that he said surprise so many times, I would have loved if in their final conversation the word surprise was incorporated in some way.
It was.
Was it?
Yeah, he says, so when he's up close to her talking, he does say, when he's like, I know you better than anyone, it shouldn't come as a surprise. And he even like stops for a second and says that.
Oh.
And I think that's the moment where she was like,
he definitely
that's it, motherfucker.
Okay, that's good, because in my head I was like, this movie would have been so much better if they did that. Well, they did it, apparently.
They did it, and it's that moment, because it is like he's gaslighting everyone.
Yes.
He's gaslighting you, because even when at the table, it's like, was he really?
Right.
Like, did he really do this? And then him saying that, it's like, oh.
Yeah, you.
I knew it. You motherfucker. You dirty bitch. But it's just crazy. Like, we only see that actor in the beginning, at the end.
Yes.
His face. And he just, like, works so well as this.
Yes. Smarmy.
Yeah.
Like, charming, but, like, is he bad or is he good?
Right.
Like, you can be convinced.
Yeah. And that's what they wanted. They really wanted someone that could be believable as someone that she would date, and also someone that could just be evil, like not like a stereotypical villain. And so he did a great job.
Yeah, he did.
From Haunting of Hill House as well.
Oh, okay. I only saw episode 1.
Okay. Well,
we'll have to watch it.
He's great. He's great in that show.
Yeah. I did pass for main character Smasher Pass. I passed on him. Just felt like the cons.
You mean the villain?
Yeah. Wait.
No, Cecilia.
Sorry. Cecilia, I passed, and the main villain, I passed.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's too much. She clearly needs therapy.
She needs help, yes.
He needs to be incarcerated.
He needs to be in jail forever.
Right.
I don't care that he's attractive.
No.
He's too evil looking.
Correct. There's enough of that villain in his aesthetics that I was like, no. Maybe if it was Henry Cavill, I would have changed my mind, but
I don't know if Henry Cavill could pull off
a
villain like that. To be honest. Like, he's a good actor, but you gotta look.
You gotta look a little evil.
Yeah, could have a
two good boy looks. I mean, he's got like a rough and tumble.
It could be, yeah,
but not like a I'll kill you though.
Yeah.
kind of a way. He's like,
I'll put an invisible suit on and murder everyone around you.
Which also, imagine how boring it would be to sit in an invisible suit and just stare at someone all day. Because he's like, for a lot of this time, he's just in her room with her in her cell, staring at her.
Just watching her.
Also, was he wearing an adult diaper? Like, because he's stuck in there overnight with her. She gets locked in. He's not leaving.
I don't know.
What if his tummy little grumble?
Yeah, I know. Okay, so fun fact. I don't know if you've heard any clicking noises throughout the movie.
Okay.
So that's the suit. The eyes are like moving. So there is some noise to the suit. And sometimes she hears, like, you can see her stop and, like, hear something going on. That's the suit. Like, it's in the room. So something to, so how the little girl moves. But I guess if you fart, he just flunked.
Yeah, I mean, and everybody does, so...
Yeah, so I don't know if he's peeing in a bucket in the attic, but it probably smell awful.
Oh, my God.
Or he could be wearing a diaper. He could be wearing a diaper.
I guess so.
Why not?
I mean, maybe he leaves every once in a while. He leaves the house every once in a while.
feet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about like the brother too, like the fact that the brother was involved in it and like he had to have been hardcore manipulated to be able to.
Right. So with the brother, I know you brought up the whole paint situation.
Yeah.
So some people have said that they think maybe both of them were in the house at the same time.
Oh.
So one of them, you know, the one with the paint left, and the other one, you know, is there without the paint. But they also showed the sink with paint on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe the suit is just like you can just
really
rinse
easy
it
to
off.
wash.
And then the other scene with Sydney, people were saying they felt like two people were also there. So they think Adrian was also at the house and he got sprayed with the mace, and then the brother stopped Sydney from running.
That makes sense.
So there were times where it seems like two of them were there at the same time.
Yeah.
But Adrian was confirmed to be the main person in the suit.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, are there three suits? Like, because she
Right.
did put one in the hole, but I'm like, maybe he found it, and I don't know, because they were like, people think it's only. It was not confirmed, but people think it would only be a prototype and the main suit,
Yeah.
and that's it. But I mean, there were 4 mannequins in his lab, so I feel like there could have been more than one suit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder.
So I don't know, something to consider. I guess.
Definitely something to think about. Because I really want to think about this movie more.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did have a nightmare last night.
Oh no.
And I literally had a nightmare, and I was in bed, and I woke up, and I looked up, and all of a sudden flickered in front of me. I was like, someone's there, and then flicker a witch, like an evil, like horrible, horrifying witch was standing over my bed and then flickered away. That was one of my nightmares. That was a bad feeling, and it felt so real.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And then another nightmare involved us and all of our friends getting kidnapped and having to do an obstacle course to escape.
Some dead.
Several people died along the way, and then you get to the end, and then it all restarted all over again.
God. Oh, no, I
So
don't. Those are both terrible.
they were horrible dreams. Thank you.
Well, it wasn't related to Invisible Man, right?
I mean,
We can't blame this movie, Megan.
I don't know. I think that my brain got all twisted. I give myself a 1 on a 1 to 10 on my survivability.
Really? Okay.
I do not think I would survive. I think that I immediately would have given up. I mean, maybe because I would have gotten myself some like I would have gotten hospitalized or something.
Yeah.
But I think that like I don't know. I think this dude would have ended up murdering me.
I honestly would have maybe killed him at the start. Like, instead of sneaking out, I would have just...
Yeah.
And then maybe have some sort of evidence that he was abusive to me. Hope that I don't get full jail time, but if I do,
Right.
oh well, I guess. But I probably honestly would have...
Yeah.
Because I don't think I would have been able to sneak out. I'm like, I
No,
need to
that's
kill
too
this
scary.
man or I'm fucked forever.
Yeah. Brett should watch out. Be careful. Better not get on your bad side.
I've told... I had a dream he cheated on me, and I was going to just kill him in a dream. And I told him, I was like, I would kill you if you cheated on me. I'm like, I'm not playing. And he's like, okay. I'm like, go ahead and try.
Dude.
So he knows I would just go straight to murder. So
All right. Well, good to know. 0 to 100. There we are. So I gave it the final rating, and honestly, I feel a little generous. I gave it a 3.5. Okay. And I gave it less because I was genuinely scared, so it's gonna lose points.
I should add points.
No, I hate it.
Scares you.
No, I hated it.
Good.
I hated it.
No, it's genuinely like that feeling, because you know when you feel like someone's
Watching
there, like
you.
watching,
Ugh.
like that feeling constantly. I would go fucking crazy.
Well, that's what I told you. One of my biggest fears is being stalked because I literally couldn't handle it emotionally and I would never recover. And I've listened to, like, if a podcast, like, I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. If it's about stalking, I will skip that episode. I cannot handle it because there's,
It's
like,
spooky.
there's only so much litigation-wise that they can do to help you.
Yeah.
They could just
True.
be staring at you with a telescope into your house.
Awful.
Anyway, hate that. And so... that's one of my big fears. And so also I hated the sister dying. And so now she has no sisters left. That was really sad.
Yeah.
And her being framed and everything. I hated that. But it was well done. And it was interesting, I guess.
I think it was good. I personally was not expecting a lot from it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but it surprised me. It was different, you know.
Yeah.
Different take on the Invisible Man. I like that. they focused on the victim, and I like that it was a toxic relationship type of situation, you know, where if you're in an abusive relationship, it could feel like if you get out of it, you could feel like they're always going to come back.
Yeah.
And that feeling, I think it worked really well with this idea of him actually being there in an invisible suit. So
Hated it.
super spooks.
Yeah, hated it. I'm glad that we do every other week now, because I'm hoping that by the time the next horror movie I have to watch comes around, I will be mildly less traumatized.
Be calm. Well, I'm learning more about you, so
Yeah, this wasn't my favorite. It's like, give me more Wolf of Snow Hollow, please.
We can't always have
No,
comedy.
we have to. No, we have to.
No, we have to have some spooks. We
I
have to
don't
have some
want
spooks.
to.
It's what the people want. It's
no,
funny.
it's not. We don't have any listeners. We have like 5 people who listen. It's
what they want. It's like
don't.
because our new episodes, the ones who get the most listens are the horror ones. So either people hate me talking or they just don't care about the romance movies.
They probably don't care about romance movies, and well, that sucks for them, because I don't.
So we're gonna have to go full horror now.
No, dude,
More
I literally,
romance.
I don't think I would survive. I don't.
You're gonna have to recommend horror to me.
I will, and then I'll just be absent from those recording sessions.
Just talking about myself.
Yeah,
Oh
I'll
my
not be
God.
there.
Okay, so I have a few things to talk about.
Okay, talk away.
So the director didn't say what scenes the Invisible Man actually is in, but he said that he's in a majority of them.
Okay.
And the actor who played Adrian actually had a green suit
Oh.
and just like would
Stood
stand in
there.
like a lot of scenes.
Stop.
And for stunt, you know, they have stuntmen do it.
Right.
But anything with the Invisible Man, it was a green screen suit.
Incredible.
And they didn't realize how difficult it would be to remove.
really?
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, like he's like wrestling, they're moving around, and like they have to remove that completely from
Yeah.
the background, the scene, with moving actors and stuff. So it was a lot difficult than they thought it was gonna be. But yeah, so they used that, and then of course traditional technique of wiring and stuff to kind of move people around. The director was inspired by Paranormal Activity regarding scenes where nothing actually happens, but it's that feeling of like something's going to happen and that tension. So he really loved that, and he thinks Paranormal Activity was just so scary for that. So he wanted to incorporate that, and it worked because there's some scenes where it'll pan
Yes.
and there's nothing going on, but
No.
you're like that feeling of he's got to be
something
there.
going to-
He's definitely standing there. I know he is. So that he got from Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, they started the very beginning of the movie like that when she was leaving the house. They
Yeah.
kept panning and you're like, is he following her? Is he watching her?
Yeah, because the scenes would be like distant shots, so it
Yeah.
looks like someone's watching, and
Yeah.
it's pretty cool the way they filmed it. Super spooky.
Very spooky.
I think I actually said everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I talked a lot during, but my mom texted me right before this, and she's like, "Why didn't you have Megan watch The Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon?" Which is another Invisible Man movie.
Oh my God. There's
Although-
multiple?
Yes, although I don't know if I guess Hollow Man has to be inspired by the Invisible Man, but Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon is a little older, and that was like my Invisible Man. Like
Yeah.
that's one I watched a lot, and I was like, well, Invisible Man doesn't have an assault of a woman, so
Oh boy.
yeah, and
Oof.
it's a great movie, but it's
Yeah.
not like it's just no one
Yeah.
wants to watch that. But
No.
it is a good
Fair
movie.
enough.
Other than that, I'm like, we didn't need that.
Right.
And that's why I'm so happy this movie didn't have any of that, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to like, oh, you know, be hot
right.
chick sleeping naked, and then
Yeah.
she gets touched up a bit.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm honestly,
Mhm.
it could have gone there.
They could have gone
really
there.
could have gone there.
Yeah, and they did not go there.
She was in
so.
her full jammies.
full jammies,
Yeah. God.
impregnated way before,
Right.
consensually, hopefully,
Well,
as much as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, none of that. But anyway,
Yeah. Well, didn't love it, but I could see its value. I'm gonna have Debbie watch The Lovebirds, and it's a movie with 2 popular actors, Kumail Nanjiani
Mhm.
and Issa Rae.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I pronounced their names correctly. I listened to a bunch of white people saying their names, which may have been a mistake. Anyway, so it's a movie in which they are a couple and they have been together for quite some time, but they mutually decide that they are going to break up because they are just not getting along anymore. And that same night, when they decide they're going to break up, they are in their car and accidentally hit a cyclist, and their car is taken over by a driver who then runs over the cyclist and kills him.
My God, is it kind of like Date Night?
Yes.
Okay.
So what proceeds is them trying to figure out how to survive this situation
Sounds awesome.
without dying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're really gonna like it. And the ways they bond along the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a good one, and we think we watched it during 2020. It like came out during 2020, and then like the movie release was kind of ruined because of COVID, much like most things were.
Right.
And so it was surprising, but it was genuinely funny and enjoyable. So I think you'll like it.
Okay.
It's got some things you like, such as death and murder
I love it. And action.
and action.
And attractive celebrities.
Correct.
So it's all I
Anyway.
need for a good movie.
Fair enough. So you can find us on socials and stuff. Where How Do You Watch This? Please start listening to the romance episodes so that I can give an excuse to make more of them. I cannot continue on this way.
And if it's me, let me know.
I just start doing all the reviews.
I'll just let Megan take over. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Or I'll let you do the horror reviews, and then no one will listen to the horror reviews anymore, and then we can fulfill my dream of being a full romance
I listen to my voice back and I'm like, man, is my voice that deep? I just have a
You have
deep
a
voice.
see. I have a high voice. My
Yeah.
voice in my head is much deeper, and I'm like, listen to that sultry voice. And then I'm like, listen to it online. It's like, hello, my name is Megan.
You do have a higher voice. I can tell I have a deep voice, but like when I listen back, I was like, damn, it's not even like a sexy. It's just like a
No, it's. I think you have a very sexy voice, Stephanie.
no. You're
No, I think you do. I think in my head, my voice is the same register as yours. So if that gives you any concept,
okay.
every time I hear my voice back, I'm like, it's like you're being slapped in the face. I'm like, who is this? Who is this? And where did she come from?
I mean, that's anyone, but
yeah, I mean, I know everyone has that feeling, but I'm special. So.
I'm the most affected here.
I am actually, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a victim. We're on social media. How do you watch this? At gmail.com. How do you watch and how do you watch this? Pretty much any variation. Go look at our milkshake on Instagram. That's the best place to find us. We appreciate you listening. We like you. Maybe even love.
We might love you.
We might
If
just
you
love
listen
you.
to the romance ones.
Listen to them more, please. Okay, goodbye.
Bye, everyone.